What will people think? Good evening, everyone. Today I want to talk about a question that sneaks into our minds more often than we'd like to admit. What will people think? It's a question that has the power to paralyze, to silence, and to make us doubt our worth. But here's the truth: the opinions of others are not a measure of our value. We're all human, and it's natural to care about what others think. It's part of being social creatures. The danger lies in letting that question rule our lives, dictating our choices and stifling our authenticity. So how do we rise above the fear of judgment? How do we live fully, not by the standards of others, but by the values we hold dear? Let's unpack this together. The fear of judgment often originates from a deeper, more insidious place: shame. Shame is that quiet, relentless voice that tells us we're not enough, not smart enough, not attractive enough, not successful enough, not anything enough. It's a powerful emotion because it thrives in silence and secrecy, feeding on our insecurities and magnifying our fears. Often, when we find ourselves overly concerned with what others think, it's because shame has taken the driver's seat in our lives. Recognizing shame is the first step in loosening its grip. Shame often disguises itself as self-criticism or the belief that we're fundamentally flawed. It's not always easy to spot because it blends so seamlessly into our thought patterns. For example, you might hesitate to share your opinion in a meeting, not because you lack ideas, but because a little voice inside you says, "What if I sound stupid?" Or you might avoid taking a risk on something new, not because you don't have the ability, but because another voice warns, "If I fail, people will think I'm a fraud." These are shame's whispers, and they are meant to keep you small. One way to start recognizing shame is by paying attention to the physical sensations that accompany it. Shame often manifests as a tightening in the chest, a flush of heat in the face, or a feeling of wanting to shrink away. It's the emotional equivalent of curling into a ball to protect yourself from perceived danger. When you feel that reaction, pause and ask yourself what triggered it. Was it a critical comment, a comparison to someone else, or even your own inner dialogue? Identifying the source of shame can begin to strip it of its power. Another clue that shame is at play is when your internal dialogue becomes harsh or absolute. Words like always or never often surface in shame-fueled thoughts: "I always mess things up," or "I'll never be good enough." These absolutes leave no room for growth, forgiveness, or self-compassion. Recognizing these patterns helps you challenge them. Instead of accepting those statements as truth, question them. Is it really true that you always fail? Is it possible that you're being harder on yourself than others would be? It's also important to understand that shame thrives in isolation. When we keep our feelings of inadequacy hidden, they grow stronger. But when we name our shame and share it with someone we trust, we often find that its power diminishes. Talking to a close friend, family member, or therapist about the fears and doubts that weigh you down can be incredibly liberating. Often, their response will remind you that you're not alone, that your struggles are part of being human, and that you are worthy of love and connection despite your imperfections. Recognizing shame doesn't mean it will disappear overnight, but it does mean you can start to confront it. Each time you identify and challenge shame, you weaken its influence. Over time, you'll find that the fear of what others think starts to fade because you're no longer giving shame the control it craves. Instead, you're reclaiming your power bit by bit and stepping into a life of greater freedom and authenticity. Defining your own worth is one of the most empowering and liberating steps you can take in life. Too often, we tie our sense of value to external factors: the opinions of others, professional achievements, social media validation, or even how well we meet societal expectations. This externalized view of worth can leave us on a perpetual treadmill, constantly seeking approval, yet never quite feeling fulfilled. Real self-worth, however, comes from within. It's about understanding and embracing your intrinsic value as a human being, independent of external judgments or accolades. The first step to defining your worth is to separate it from performance or outcomes. Many of us grow up internalizing the belief that our value is tied to what we do or achieve. High grades, promotions, financial success, or even our ability to maintain relationships can become measures of whether we are good enough, while accomplishments can be fulfilling. They do not determine your worth. Your value isn't something you have to earn. It's something you inherently possess. Reflect on this idea. If I stripped away my titles, roles, and achievements, what would be left? The answer is you, your character, your heart, your capacity for love, and your unique contributions to the world. That is the foundation of your worth. Another essential aspect of defining your worth is recognizing the danger of comparison. Comparing yourself to others can erode self-esteem and create a sense of inadequacy. In today's hyper-connected world, it's easy to feel like you're falling behind or failing to measure up. Social media, in particular, often amplifies this as we compare our behind-the-scenes struggles to others' highlight reels. But the truth is, no one else's journey diminishes your value. Your worth is not a competition. It is unique, personal, and cannot be quantified or compared. Self-compassion plays a critical role in defining your worth. Many of us are our own harshest critics, holding ourselves to impossible standards and berating ourselves when we fall short. But what if we extended the same kindness to ourselves that we would offer to a friend? When you make a mistake, instead of thinking, I'm such a failure, try telling yourself, I'm human and I'm learning. This shift in perspective can help you build a healthier, more forgiving relationship with yourself, reinforcing the idea that your worth isn't tied to being perfect. Setting boundaries is another powerful way to define your worth. When you know your value, you become less willing to tolerate situations or relationships that diminish it. Saying no to people or commitments that don't align with your values is not selfish, it's self-respect. Boundaries are a way of telling the world, I know my worth and I won't compromise it. Finally, defining your worth means embracing your whole self, including your imperfections. Your flaws, mistakes, and vulnerabilities are not liabilities. They are part of what makes you beautifully human. True self-worth comes from knowing that you are enough, not because of what you've done or what others think, but simply because you are you. When you truly internalize this belief, you'll stop looking outside for validation and start living with the confidence, peace, and freedom that come from knowing your own worth. Embracing imperfection is an act of courage and self-acceptance in a world that often glorifies perfection. From an early age, we're conditioned to believe that being flawless is the key to success, love, and belonging. We strive for the perfect career, the perfect body, the perfect relationships, and the perfect image to present to the world. But this relentless pursuit of perfection often leads to exhaustion, disconnection, and self-doubt. It keeps us from experiencing the fullness of life, which is inherently messy and imperfect. The first step to embracing imperfection is understanding that it's not a flaw to be corrected, but an essential part of being human. Every person has strengths and weaknesses, triumphs and failures. Perfection is not only unattainable, it's also unrelatable. What draws us to others is not their polished exterior, but their authenticity, vulnerability, and ability to be real. Think about the people you admire most. Are they perfect, or are they honest about their struggles and imperfections, showing you that it's okay to be human? When we allow ourselves to be imperfect, we create space for genuine connection and empathy with others. One of the greatest barriers to embracing imperfection is the fear of judgment. We often believe that our flaws make us unworthy of acceptance or love, so we hide them behind masks of competence and control. But the truth is, we are all more alike in our imperfections than we realize. Everyone has doubts, makes mistakes, and experiences failure. When you stop judging yourself harshly for your imperfections, you're also less likely to judge others, fostering a kinder and more compassionate view of the world. Another way to embrace imperfection is to reframe failure as an opportunity for growth. Society tends to view failure as something to avoid at all costs, but it's often through our mistakes that we learn the most about ourselves and the world around us. Failure teaches resilience, adaptability, and creativity. It's not a sign of weakness, but a stepping stone to success. Instead of seeing imperfection as a reason to give up, see it as a chance to try again, armed with new knowledge and experience. Self-compassion is key to embracing imperfection. Many of us speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to a friend, criticizing every misstep and magnifying every flaw. Learning to be gentle with yourself can transform the way you see your imperfections. When you make a mistake, remind yourself that everyone stumbles. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer someone you love. This doesn't mean ignoring areas where you want to improve. It means recognizing that your worth isn't dependent on getting everything right. Finally, embracing imperfection means celebrating your uniqueness. The things you perceive as flaws are often the very qualities that make you special. Whether it's a quirky sense of humor, an unconventional way of thinking, or a scar that tells a story, these imperfections are part of what makes you authentically you. When you accept and even celebrate these aspects of yourself, you free yourself from the exhausting need to conform to unrealistic standards. Life is richer and more meaningful when we let go of the need to be perfect. By embracing imperfection, you not only find greater peace and joy in yourself, but you also give others permission to do the same. Imperfection is not something to fear, it's a beautiful reminder of our shared humanity. Choosing courage over comfort is one of the most transformative decisions we can make in our lives. Comfort is seductive. It offers the illusion of safety and predictability, shielding us from risk, fear, and uncertainty. But comfort also has a cost. It can keep us stuck in places where we aren't growing, prevent us from pursuing what truly matters, and leave us wondering, what if? Courage, on the other hand, invites us to step into the unknown, to face challenges, and to live in alignment with our values, even when it's hard. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear, it means acting in spite of it. Fear is a natural response when we're about to do something that stretches us or challenges the status quo. It shows up when we're on the edge of growth, preparing to take a step that matters. The key is to recognize fear as a sign that we're engaging with something important rather than a signal to retreat. Every time we choose courage over comfort, we build resilience and strengthen our ability to face future challenges. One of the most common obstacles to choosing courage is the fear of failure. We often hesitate to take risks because we worry about what might go wrong. What if I fail? What if people judge me? What if I'm not enough? These questions can be paralyzing, but they also reveal what's at stake: our desire to grow, to contribute, and to live authentically. The truth is, failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of the journey. When you reframe failure as a teacher rather than a threat, it becomes easier to choose courage and take the next step, knowing that even setbacks will lead to valuable lessons. Choosing courage also requires us to let go of perfectionism. Courage often looks messy and imperfect. It might mean starting a project without having all the answers, speaking up for what you believe in despite trembling hands, or setting boundaries that disrupt the comfort of others. It's tempting to wait for the perfect moment or to feel completely ready, but those moments rarely come. Courage invites us to act anyway, trusting that we'll figure things out as we go. Another challenge in choosing courage is the discomfort of vulnerability. Courage often requires us to show up as we truly are, without guarantees of how we'll be received. It might mean admitting we don't know something, asking for help, or expressing emotions that feel raw and exposed. Vulnerability is not weakness, it's a sign of strength and authenticity. When we choose to be vulnerable, we open the door to deeper connections and experiences that bring meaning to our lives. Finally, choosing courage over comfort is about aligning your actions with your values. It's easy to drift along with what's familiar, even if it doesn't feel right. But when you choose courage, you honor what matters most to you, whether it's pursuing a dream, advocating for change, or simply being true to yourself. This alignment creates a life of greater purpose and fulfillment, even if the path is challenging. Courage may not always lead to immediate comfort, but it always leads to growth and a deeper sense of authenticity. Surrounding yourself with true allies is essential for personal growth, emotional well-being, and living an authentic life. True allies are the people who see you for who you are, not who you pretend to be, and who encourage you to become the best version of yourself. These relationships provide a foundation of trust, support, and shared values that can carry you through life's challenges and celebrate your victories. The first step in surrounding yourself with true allies is to recognize the difference between supportive relationships and those that drain or diminish you. Not everyone in your life is meant to be part of your inner circle. While acquaintances and casual connections have their place, your true allies are those who genuinely invest in your well-being and care about your happiness. They don't just show up for the good times, they stand by you when things get tough. These are the people who listen without judgment, who offer encouragement instead of criticism, and who make you feel valued and accepted even in your most vulnerable moments. True allies also challenge you to grow. They aren't afraid to offer constructive feedback when they see you veering off course or settling for less than you deserve. This kind of honesty can be uncomfortable, but it's rooted in care and a desire to see you thrive. Allies hold up a mirror, reflecting not just your strengths, but also the areas where you have room to evolve. They do this not to tear you down, but to build you up, helping you to reach your full potential. One of the most valuable qualities of true allies is their ability to create a safe space for vulnerability. In a world that often rewards perfection and discourages authenticity, it's rare to find people with whom you can share your fears, mistakes, and dreams without fear of judgment. True allies embrace your imperfections and remind you that you're enough, just as you are. This kind of unconditional support fosters deeper connections and allows you to show up in life with greater confidence and authenticity. Another important aspect of surrounding yourself with true allies is reciprocity. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and effort. Being a true ally to others means showing up for them in the same way they show up for you, offering support, honesty, and encouragement when they need it. This balance of giving and receiving strengthens the bond between you and creates a sense of shared purpose. It's also worth noting that true allies don't always look or think like you. Diversity in your relationships brings richness and perspective to your life. Allies from different backgrounds, experiences, and viewpoints can challenge your assumptions, expand your understanding, and help you grow in ways you might not have considered. This openness to diverse connections strengthens not only your relationships, but also your capacity for empathy and inclusion. Surrounding yourself with true allies requires intentionality. It's about choosing relationships that nourish and uplift you while letting go of those that don't. As you build this circle of support, you'll find that your allies inspire you to live authentically, embrace your worth, and face life's challenges with greater courage and resilience. As we navigate life, the people we choose to surround ourselves with have the power to shape our experiences, influence our growth, and support us in our most challenging moments. True allies remind us that we don't have to face life's uncertainties alone. They cheer us on when we succeed, hold us up when we falter, and challenge us to keep reaching for more. So as you move forward, choose your circle with intention. Seek out those who see your worth, encourage your authenticity, and celebrate your uniqueness. And just as importantly, be that kind of ally for others. Together, we can create connections that are grounded in trust, empathy, and mutual respect, the kind of relationships that make us stronger, braver, and more fulfilled. Remember, life is richer when it's shared with people who truly see and support you. Surround yourself with true allies, and you'll always have the strength to stand tall and embrace all that life has to offer. Thank you.